Welcome, everyone, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen. You can find me on the BetSperts app in that same name, no space. And joining me, as always, and he's one of those folks who just has the one name. It's just Andy. How are you, bud?
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah, it's good. Tulane. I did watch a lot of the AAC scores. I think out of all the smaller conferences, the AAC is my favorite. They're not even that small of a conference. We call them micro majors, the real small ones, but I've enjoyed that conference thoroughly. Apologies to anyone who had the Tulane under, because Tulane started fouling with like 3 minutes left, man. It was a 52-point first half with a total in the mid 130s and a 92-point second half. So that's just how kids basketball works sometimes. That's why these full game unders are so sketchy. And I know it's harder to get down on first halves, but first half unders are sometimes where it's at, because these teams will foul till they're absolutely dead. So nice to get a win there. Bloody shame about the Sixers. Like, that was an ugly, ugly push.
There was a couple. So we had the Sixers push. For those of you who weren't watching, the Sixers are up by a ton. They basically punt 2 possessions. Charlotte comes down, hits 2 threes. There's a bunch of foul nonsense, and we get lucky. And if you got the -7, which I'm pretty sure just about everybody did, we pushed there. Condolences, though, to anybody that didn't get the best of the number on the Pelicans under. Posted that at 224. I think some people got some 223s, unfortunately, because that landed right on the number with some late game shenanigans. Just a goofy night the last couple of nights. Things are starting to get bad beady, if you will.
Much shenanigans there. Real quick before we get too deep, was just going to mention again the contest last couple days for this. The BetSperts contest. It's a profile on the app. If you follow it, there'll be other giveaways. By following it, you'll be alerted of those giveaways. And right now they're giving away $5,000 on the Super Bowl. And then we'll announce it Monday, I think. So, and if it gets up to 1,000 followers, which maybe it is at already, I haven't even double checked today, it'll be $10,000. So easy cash there. And as far as other giveaways, Alex posted a pretty cool, we'll get into some of our Super Bowl stuff a little later on in the show, but and by we, I didn't really do anything. Yeah, Alex did all this. So he put together a prop contest through Google Sheets, Google Forms. Basically, just click on the link and like there's drop downs and stuff. Just fill it out. Just answer all the questions. Put in your BetSperts username. Whoever gets the most right with the tiebreaker and everything, we'll announce again on Monday, and we'll send them a prize pack. There'll be a BetSperts swag prize pack. I have a bunch of stuff I can give away, so we'll get somebody a prize there. So a couple ways to win some stuff besides just betting basketball.
That's right. Again, that'll be on the Brown Bag Bets Twitter handle at Brown Bag Bets, and we'll actually try to get on the BetSperts handle, Andy, and put a link there as well. It's very simple. All you got to do is enter your BetSperts username, and then you click a few multiple choices. I think there's 1 or 2 short answers. You actually have to type something in, but
no essays.
A few responses so far. Keep them coming, and like Andy said, we'll get you a bunch of cool BetSperts stuff, a sweatshirt, maybe some pint glasses, all sorts of cool stuff.
Speaking of basketball, I'm gonna let you fire away on NBA because I'm still thinking about basketball. I think I got my plays, but I'm still looking up what the name of the mascot is for Montana State. So start with the NBA.
In the association, it is Thursday night, so as a lot of people know, we have a smaller slate with some more marquee games. We'll go through kind of the whole slate here, and then I'll give you the one selection I have on the marquee game actually at the end. Golden State plays Dallas. This will be Dallas's it'll be a back-to-back and third game in 4 nights for them. And also, it looks like Porzingis is probably out of this game. Just a lot of unknown there. I lean Golden State, but and it looks like they're taking a little bit of money, open -3.5. I'm starting to see some 2.5. So I think that's probably the news on Porzingis being out. Maybe an under there, but it's just a tough spot with all the unknowns around Dallas. Utah, Atlanta. Utah continues to just be a runaway train. This opens -6.5. They're taking money at 7.5. Makes sense to me. It's, again, a tough game for me to attack. The total is starting to be bet up, it looks like, a little bit. Open to 224. I'm seeing some 227s. I might come back with an under the other way. I think this might be a little overreaction to some of the big numbers we saw last night on Atlanta. my Sixers in a back-to-back hosting Portland, laying just too big of a number on a back-to-back, especially with we'll see if Embiid or Simmons or somebody gets a night off here. Houston and Memphis. Houston kind of laid a big boner last night. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they got smoked by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they come back tonight. Just tough to figure out what's going on there. I liked Memphis when it opened at -1. It's starting to creep out to 2.5, which is probably a little too deep. But the marquee game, we have the Denver Nuggets against the Los Angeles Lakers. I like the Nuggets here. I think this is a really nice spot for Denver. If you look back historically, Jokic has done well against the Lakers, even when they've had Anthony Davis. He's just a tough matchup for all these guys. So I'm going to take the Nuggets here. I got +5.5. I see him +5 starting to pop up now. That's just fine. Going to look and see once kind of the lineup cement here. Might even sprinkle a little bit of money line here. I do make Los Angeles a favorite, but only about a 3-point favorite here. So seeing some value on the Nuggets, again, from a matchup perspective, just a lot of tough matchup both ways and a lot of ways for Denver to keep the game close with Jamal Murray. They actually have a guy who can slow down, not stop LeBron, but at least kind of get in his way and slow him down as much as anybody can. So should be a fun game tonight. I think it'll be very close. Let's take the Nuggets and the points. And I'll, of course, post it on BetSperts, but I might add a little bit of money line later. What do you think, Andy?
I like a little money line, especially when it's under 2 possessions, especially in the association. I want to say just like not blindly, but betting some of these dogs that have been closer has been halfway profitable in basketball this year. So, and Patrick P, somebody asked about, because my college basketball, as shitty as it did early in the year, it is doing well right now. And someone says, all I can think about is regression when I'm on a hot streak. Patrick, I'm right there with you. Every time like last year, right around this time, I had a nice run. I had like a 9-0 run, and then I lost one, and then won like 5 or 6 in a row again. And I was just sitting, and like you sit there and think about, like, I'm just due for like an 0-4 day. That's all. It gets in your head. It does. It sucks that you can't enjoy it because, like, I almost wish I didn't know how math works sometimes. And sometimes I sound like I don't anyway. So, yes, it's been a fun college basketball run. Hopefully the ball keeps rolling my way, because some of these have been a little close, and late game shenanigans falling your way is always nice. It's much, much more. You get so angry when, the fouling, like let's say the Suns total yesterday, when the fouling is just ridiculous, the end of game, lack of heroics, when there's fouling, and it doesn't actually come into anything but the spread. So it's silly when you start seeing kids fouling with like 3 minutes left down by 12, but such is life in college ball. I played a couple Eastern Kentucky. I was comfortable playing this at -3 last night. And you know what? I was comfortable playing them at -2 last time, and that overnight it went to +2. Somebody is fully, fine betting against Eastern Kentucky in the overnight markets in the mornings. And I guess kudos for waiting. There's still 2s out there. I'd play this up to 3. I'm fine with that. This is one I like. My Colonels, they're still a good team. Obviously, the Ohio Valley isn't one of the top conferences, but I make them better than P. Austin P got off a little bit they got to play SIU Edwardsville. Like, they looked pretty good the last couple games, but they played Tennessee State and SIU Edwardsville. Tennessee State sucks shit. And Edwardsville, as our guest Jeff Goodman mentioned the other day, they're playing a game like every 2 days for the rest of their lives. Like, that's just a team that's not going to be doing well, nor are they a good team to begin with. Like, they're a 300s ranked team. So P is a little overranked in the market right now. The Governors versus the Colonels. That's a really good mascot match.
I like that.
I like Eastern Kentucky to get the cover even. Oh, they are at home. Eastern Kentucky at home getting the cover. That's a beautiful look for me there. I think that one's my favorite play of the week. They probably lose by 30. And then, yes, I'm 2 days in a row. Guest Frank from the other day. He had the Eastern Kentucky under on Monday, when my guys went to overtime, or maybe Tuesday, and ruined his under. And in the aforementioned Tulane game, where there was a lot of late game fouling, he had that under as well. So I keep telling him, like, oh, my teams are winning, but they're ruining your totals. So it doesn't look like we crossed on anything today. So good for him to maybe smarten up and stay away. The other one, this number is on the move. I'm not sure how much I love it at 5.5. This was 7 last night, and I didn't grab it. I was kind of pissy. I grabbed the 6.5 this morning, posted it on the app on BetSperts, down to 5.5. Maybe make it a smaller play. In that case, you're not getting the 2 possessions. That does kind of suck that it took off a little here, but I can see a couple of books that are shaded a little towards a juicy 5.5. We might see some buyback on Weber State, get ourselves maybe back to a 6. A 6 would be pretty preferable here. Somebody in the chat helped me out with it. Is the Bobcats of Bozeman, my Montana State of the Big Sky Conference head coach, Danny Sprinkle, best name in college basketball. So Weber's a good team, but there's a lot of metrics I do like. Montana State can't shoot threes for shit, which sucks in late game stuff. That's where I'm a little sketched out if this gets too far out, but they do shoot the ball well otherwise, and have a pretty decent defense. They don't foul a ton. They're not going to put Weber State on the line a lot. I like that, an underdog. And we got a lock here. Somebody in the chat says, prop contest, the under 275 total points at halftime. Did we forget a decimal?
Yeah, we did. It looks like I have over 27.5 and under 275.
Might have to.
I guess I have to leave that. Yeah, we've got 16 people that have answered there. Let me see actually how many, and this is the nice part, by the way, not that this is a commercial for some of this Google stuff, but let me just see real quick. Under 275, I got most of the votes. A few people did actually take the over 27.5 though.
Yeah, and the Anthem one too. The Anthem is off by like a minute. About to get steamed. Just
need to get a better editor on this thing next year. But a couple freebies for you guys. The Anthem one too was another one. About 50 people started to pick up on the Anthem one, but initially people actually went under that number. So apologies to anybody that picked the wrong one. But I guess pay attention, folks.
Tennis is back. That's all I have for basketball. Just those 2. I put them in the app. Anything I play Friday and Saturday should have some more games. Last Friday and Saturday, I think I had like 9 games I played. I think they even played like 4 of them. So I should have more bets going into the weekend as usual. But tennis is back. Alex has some plays down in Melbourne 3 Grampians.
That's right. Tennis took a day off yesterday to do some contact tracing and testing to make sure everybody is good and ready to go. Again, the Australian Open's coming on Monday. That's still the plan. So even with the day off, they did make some adjustments, by the way. If you are going to bet some women's tennis matches today, all the WTA matches, Melbourne 1, 2, 3, Gippsland, Yarra Valley, or Grampians. Instead of a third set in those matches, the women are going to be playing what they call a super tiebreak or a tiebreak to 10 points to decide the match. So don't bet any totals. All those numbers are going to be really messy. Just kind of stay away from those. But some nice money lines here and then a parlay in Grampians. Angelique Kerber, really like her. She continues to be undervalued here. Did have a tough season last year, but like her in this spot as an underdog. She's playing Ons Jabeur, a really clever player. Ons Jabeur is a lot of fun to watch. She's from Tunisia, and unfortunately, I don't think she has her little support crowd here. But when fans are back in the stands, she has a group of about 15 to 20 people that travel with her, this big Tunisian flag that yell and scream and make a whole bunch of noise. It's fun at a tennis match. But Kerber is certainly not going to be outsmarted by her, and I think has a chance. I think this match should be much closer to even. So grabbing Kerber here at plus 170. Leylah Annie Fernandez, the young Canadian. Someone that is just generally underpriced, and I'm sorry, I having trouble finding. That's right. She's playing Maria Sakkari tonight. Sakkari, a really nice player, one of the better players on tour, but someone who has some limitations to her game, frankly. She is getting better from a serve perspective, but again, this I think is going to be a tough match. Fernandez, a young player. Young players tend to be undervalued against some of these bigger names. I don't know. The market maybe has some bias towards younger players, maybe being nervous in these spots, or just maybe the fact that she hasn't played too many matches against these kind of players. But at plus 190, there's a lot of value here to me. I think she has a real chance to win this match. And then finally, one parlay here, 2 women that I think should win comfortably. Jennifer Brady and Veronika Kudermetova. We'll put both of them together at right around even money.
The Coot Dog. That's what I call her.
The Cooter Monster, if you will.
Cooter Monster.
That's what we call her in the net worth pod. But
That's what they call
all
her.
these matches are starting tonight. It looks like the first one is 6 o'clock on the East Coast. No, I'm sorry, 7 o'clock on the East Coast will be the first one of these matches. But start 7 o'clock on the East Coast and should be running all night. So a lot of tennis if you're bored of watching all the other things that are going on. You won't be, but if you got an extra screen.
And for the record too, like the Denver basketball game, the NBA games, like at 10 p.m. Eastern. Both of my games start 7 and 9 Eastern. So nothing in the afternoon. You'll just have to watch the golf. I haven't even checked how my golfers are doing yet. I'm sure they're already doing things to bother me. We haven't talked much about the big game. I do a lot of that on the deep dive and other stuff. So sometimes I just get sick of football, but we do have to acknowledge that it's here. I've mentioned this a couple places. Just I make a little bit of value on the under. I make a little bit of value on Tampa. I have an outright pending from preseason on Kansas City for a small amount. So I probably won't get too involved in the cider total. If like I said, I thought the total would come down. I saw value in the under, but at the same time, I was not excited whatsoever to get involved in an under in a game that has such a wide variety of reasons that it could end up in the 60s, 70s, 80. There could be a ton of points. We could see a repeat of one of these back and forth games, especially if we do end up with Tampa Bay coming out early. So probably a game I'm going to live bet for the most part and look at props. I haven't placed much. I said anything I put in, I will be putting in today or tomorrow, and I'll tweet it out and put it on the app. But Alex has some that he played.
Starting to pick through, we have just kind of an endless number of prop markets that are available out there in the world. I was picking through some. The first one here had a bunch of help from you, Andy, on this. You can go through, a lot of books have these separate, some have them combined, but the game to not be decided by 3, 7, 10, or 14 points. Most of, the key numbers, if you will. And Andy was nice enough to go back and look. And I think what your research said, Andy, is that this number should be a little closer to minus 200.
Yeah, somebody did take the push probabilities from Chris and said it wasn't quite that high. And while I agree with him, it's hard to just take, like, I get where he's coming at with it, with the market and then taking the VIG out. But still, like, if you were going to bet minus 150 or plus 115, I would lean much closer to being a fair price at plus 150.
Next one that I found, and this one's a little juicy, but you guys talked about this a little bit last night with Uncle Kanish, and there is some value sometimes in some of these juicy numbers. And Bill Belichick to be said over 1 time on the broadcast at minus 300. Maybe it's a lock for a push, but I don't. It's beyond me how we get through this entire broadcast without them saying the name Bill Belichick once.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andy? I mean, again, given the push probability, the fact that it's not even 1.5, like, should this be like minus 1,000, 10,000? Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around what the actual price for something like this should even be.
Yeah, it's not like a complete free roll, but it's about as close as you're going to get. That's going to be a big storyline. They're going to definitely mention that. They're going to say, this will be – imagine talking about Tom Brady and saying, this will be his 10th Super Bowl, but his first without Bill Belichick. I mean, that sentence is going to be said. So you're just waiting to see if he can catch the second one or if you're just taking a push.
And even if it's late in the game, they're talking about Kansas City, they're winning by a lot. We start to have all those conversations about, is Andy Reid, where does he fit in the coaching pantheon? Well, of course, Bill Belichick's the greatest of all time. But, like, there you go. Like, it's got to happen. So I'm going to lay the juice there again. Very small limits on something like this. I think it was 150 to win 50, the one place I found it. But they have a couple skins, so I played that twice. The next bet, both teams to score in the first quarter, no. This is one of the angles that I love in the Super Bowl every year. I know that it's hard and not necessarily the best practice to look at one specific game and the very small sample size of that one specific game over time. But this is the Super Bowl. It's a big deal for these guys. It's a 2-week break. It's the first time that they've had, frankly, that long of a break. Teams have more time to plan. I think the defenses, frankly, come in sharper. Offenses are a little bit rustier. And as you look over, again, I know it's a small sample size, but if you look at the last 10 Super Bowls, 7 of the last 10 Super Bowls, only one team scored in the first quarter, and 3 of the last 10, nobody scored. These games tend to start out really slow, really clunky. I'm going to be attacking some of these angles a lot. I've got some first quarter under 10. I've got some no score in the first 6 minutes, 30 seconds at plus something, but both teams not to score in the first quarter, minus 140. Again, I think this will be kind of a slow, clunky game, and I'm happy to lay a little bit of juice there. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, no, I'm down with that for sure. They do kind of start out slow. I'm not sure why. These are not teams that should be nervous, but for some reason, Super Bowls do tend to kind of ease into things.
The next one, this is frankly just I found a number that I think is really off market when I start to compare it to some other things. The MVP position to win the tight end at plus 950. You'll have to look around. This is at 2 books. Most other books, this is right around 8 and plus 850. But Travis Kelce is 10 to 1 to be the Super Bowl MVP just about everywhere. If he's 10 to 1, there has to be value in the entire position at 9.5 to 1 because I get Gronkowski, I get Brate. Now, Brate's probably not going to win, but what are the chances that Gronkowski catches 2 touchdowns and no one else does anything spectacular? When Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, he doesn't really normally win the MVP. It's almost always somebody else. So, I'm happy to grab Travis Kelce. I was frankly going to play him at 10 to 1, but I like this much, much better. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of a way to build in, the small possibility of Gronk or Brate, because weird people do win Super Bowl MVPs. You can get a defensive player, you can get a wide receiver, things like this happen. It just takes a blow up game, and if Brate catches 3 touchdowns and everyone else plays pretty well, like they're going to give it to him. And if Kelce blows up, they're going to give it to him. And if Kelce wins it and you lost 50 cents of value because you didn't play that, so be it. I still think it's a little better play because you're absorbing the small possibility of the other linebackers, tight ends as well.
And then the last one, first field goal of the game, Tampa Bay. This is just kind of more of a qualitative play for me. I think, you start to look at the odds of who has the first possession. All those things are right around 50-50. But we know that Kansas City is the much more aggressive team. We know that Andy Reid loves to go for it on 4th down. I think they're going to be pushing a lot more for touchdowns in this game. And, frankly, Bruce Arians hasn't been as aggressive this season, as he was when he was in Arizona. I wonder if, again, that's having a little success and him starting to get a little more flustered. I think this is going to be, a big game for him. And I think the Tampa Bay is going to be happy to take the points if they get the ball first and have a chance to kick the field goal. Where, again, I expect Kansas City to just be going for touchdowns at pretty much every opportunity. So Tampa Bay, first field goal, even money.
I like it. I'm not sure. I'm looking at which coordinator will be shown first. I'm not sure you can actually handicap that. But and somebody did say too here, first quarter, lowest scoring quarter, plus 190. That's not a bad look. It's usually like first and thirds are kind of lower. I like that too. So anything
first quarter tie 3 to 1 is an interesting bet. You get 0-0 or 3-3, something like that. I was looking for an exact score 0-0. 3 of the last 10 years, it's been 0-0.
So, yeah, anything I come up with, I'll tweet out as I'm going to dig through them this afternoon. School just got canceled around here, so I got to get the kids and I'll make them watch a movie while I sit and look at Super Bowl props and read people's articles for the afternoon. Appreciate you. This is the best. You see Sarah Thomas to get knocked to the ground by a player plus 953. There's some of that stuff you can't price. You can't.
Love the 53. What a fun!
I like that they put it, and that's classic book.
Makes you think that
all their golf odds are like that. It's not Jordan. It's not Jordan Spieth 42 to 1. It's Jordan Spieth 42.83. Plus 4283. It's silly how they do that. But quick recap before we go. Then Denver. This is the latest game on the slate for the NBA. I played Eastern Kentucky, Montana State -2 plus 6.5. Again, I'd play Kentucky up to 3. Montana State, try to find a 6 if we can. Kerber baby. That's what Brad Gilbert calls her. Angelique Fernandez plus 190 and Brady Kudermetova in a parlay for plus 100. And, of course, the props we just went over. If you have any props you think are super smart, super sharp, or going to win, hit us on Twitter with it. We'd love to highlight that when it wins. So thanks a lot for hanging with us today.
Yeah, we'll have a guest tomorrow, but we'll talk some more Super Bowl stuff at the start, and should be a good time. and make sure you get that prop contest filled out. As obviously, we now have our 2 locks out, and so worst case, folks, you should get at least 2 right.
Somebody did, and it's not ashamed to fade it. Somebody did tweet out too that or somebody in the messages asked where can I find it, and I responded, we will tweet that out. So we'll tweet that on the Brown Bags account. We'll tweet that on the I'll retweet it. We'll get that out there, make sure everyone sees it. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great day.